welcome to my channel, Andra Makes. I have a fun pattern review for you today. I'm going to be reviewing New Look 6585. It is a Mrs. jacket or coat, and I made view A, the full length that the model's wearing. As you can see, it comes in 3 different lengths, full length, and then a car coat length, and then a jacket. And there's also an option for hoods, and they all have the shawl type collars. I highly recommend this pattern if you've never sewn a coat before. It is so easy. There are no closures, no lining, nothing like that. And it's also amazing if you love the feeling of being wrapped up in a quilt or a fuzzy blanket. This coat is for you. You can actually wrap it around yourself because there are no closures and it's wide enough to do that. I love it so much. If you go to Christmas parades where it's cold in your area, or if you have to stand in line or are going to be in an outdoor sporting event, anything like that, this would be amazing. Like I said, highly recommend. I do have a few tips to share of some things that I noticed as I was making mine. I'm going to be going over the pattern envelope with you, showing you the pattern pieces, showing you my coat up close on a hanger, and then inserting pictures, and then inserting footage of when I tried it on and showing you some more things about it. And I think Alex from A Mason Lifestyle has a sew-along. I think it's a sew-along. It may be a pattern review, it may be both. I think she has one of those on her channel, and if I find it, well, I'm sure I'll find it if she has it, but I will link it in the description box if you need a sew-along. But this would be amazing for beginners. And I know if you're in the northern hemisphere, we're getting ready to transition into spring, but the pattern calls for cozy, fleecy fabrics, of course, and they will be, if they aren't already, heavily discounted, on clearance, on sale, all that. So even if you don't plan on making the coat right now, go ahead and get the fabric because it's going to be a lot less expensive now that we're heading into spring. And also, go ahead and make it because you will have it ready to go when it starts getting cold in fall and winter. I will tell you the fabric that I used, which is a Luxe fleece from Joann, amazing. Regular price, it's $20 a yard, but of course I used a coupon and got it on sale and all that. So now's the time to grab this fabric, and I highly recommend the fabric I used. It feels amazing. So now I'm going to go over all the details of the pattern envelope with you, and I will pop it up on the screen here as I'm talking so you can see more of the details of the coat and or jacket. But the size range goes from an extra small to an extra large, in numerical that is 6 to 8 to 22 to 24. That covers a bust of 30.5 inches to 46 inches, a waist of 23 inches to 39 inches, hips of 32.5 inches to 48 inches, and the finished measurements for the bust are on the envelope, thank goodness, and that ranges from 40.5 inches to 55 inches. And then the fabric they recommend, and I highly agree with this because as you can see, the inside of the fabric is going to show. This isn't lined. So you do need, they're calling it double-faced or reversible only fabric, such as fleece, wool types, and ponte. And then the only notions you'll need are thread, but if you are making the jacket, it has the inseam pockets, side seam pockets, and you'll need a little bit of fabric for lining for that. And then the fabric yardage you will need, the only width they have listed on the envelope is 60 inches, and depending on the view you're making and what size, you'll need anywhere from 2 1/4 yards to 3 3/8 yards. I made the size medium, which is what I 99% of the time make in Big 4, and I made view A, and I used 3.5 yards of fabric. I didn't make any changes to the pattern, but I wish I had, and I'll talk about that as we go along. Okay, now I'm going to show you the pattern pieces. Oh, I forgot to say, if you have any questions about anything that perhaps I didn't cover, let me know in the comments and I will answer as best I can. Okay, here is the front and hood piece. This is one of the things I love about this pattern is the hood and the front, as you can see right there, are attached. It's all one piece. And I will slowly show you this because it is massive. It's almost 1 3/4 yards long for the view and size I made. There's the hood attached to the front. And then, whoops, that's my chair. You will need to, if you're making view A, attach this pattern piece to the bottom to make it long enough. And you will cut 2 of these. And then here's the back piece. You'll cut 2 of these. As you can see, this is a raglan style sleeve, which I love. And not only is it raglan style, but it's a 2-piece sleeve, which I love that also. This is the sleeve front piece, and you will cut 2 of these. This is the sleeve back, and you'll cut 2 of these. This is the back facing, and you'll cut 1 of these. I do have a tip about this. I would recommend making this piece wider, and I'll show you on my coat, but everything is so thick, and you fold this in half and then you fold it over the seam in the back, and that was a lot of bulk, and it was hard to get it all the facing pulled down and around the seams, and I did even miss a certain spot, and I'll show you that as well. But if I make this again, I will make this piece wider to make that process easier. And it would also be fun to cut this in a contrasting quilting cotton fabric, which is what I did for the inside of my hood, and I will show you that. But definitely consider maybe cutting this wider. And then here is the pocket piece for the patch pockets. You will cut 2 of these. Make sure you cut the mirror image. Ask me how I know. Okay, now I'm going to show you my coat. Before I do, I have a few tips. The fabric you're using, check it for nap. Very important. Also, you know your machine. You know how much bulk it can handle. This is very thick in places. I have a Juki TL 2010Q. It's a semi-industrial straight stitch only powerhouse. It can go through most things. I didn't have any problems, but as I was sewing along, I was thinking to myself, machines that can't handle a lot of bulk, this pattern might not be for you. But like I said, you know your machine, you know what it can handle, so keep that in mind. And you could also use a less thick fleece. That would help too with the bulk. Okay, now I'm going to show you my coat. Here it is. Oh my goodness, I wish you could feel this. Highly recommend the Luxe fleece from Joann. There's a darker gray and then a lighter gray, and as you can see, it has the shawl type collar that folds back. It's why it's important that your fabric is double-faced or double-sided. And there are the sleeves. And I'm going to take it off the hanger in a second and show you the facing I was talking about. Perhaps adding some. And then here's the back. And one thing I did was, the seam is going to be exposed, of course, because it isn't lined. So I found some, this is a fat quarter that I had in my stash, and just made like a little binding. Getting close so you could see, and covered the seam. Thought that was super cute. And then the super cozy hood. And one thing I did, the sleeves were not long enough for me. They were, and I'll talk about it when I try it on for you, but when I have my arms straight down, they were okay, long enough. But when you raise your arms, like to drive or do anything like that, they would come up higher on my wrist, which I didn't want, especially for a coat. So I ended up adding a cuff to mine. And when I'm wearing it, you'll see when I try it on, when my arms are straight down, it's a little bit long, but when I raise my arms, it's the perfect length. So if I make it again, I will lengthen the sleeves, although I kind of like the look of the cuff. And I'll get in close so you can see this fabric. It is amazing. Now I'm going to take it off the hanger and show you what I was talking about the facing. Might be hard to see, but the facing only runs from here to here. And as you can see, I ended up sewing it down by hand because I just couldn't get it to stay down by itself because it was so bulky. But I think if this piece is wider, it's going to be a lot easier. You'll have a lot more room to turn it over. And here's where I actually missed a little bit of getting the facing on there, but that's okay. So there is my suggestion for the facing. And one more tip I had that I forgot about is it is almost impossible to remove the stitches once they're in. So keep that in mind. If you do need to remove any, I would recommend a super sharp seam ripper and taking your time. It's so hard to find the stitches because the fabric is so plush, and it's hard to get the stitches out without making a hole in your fabric. So be aware of that. I actually tried to unpick the facing where I missed that one part on the coat, and I just saw that I couldn't do it without perhaps ruining my coat, so that's why I just left it. So keep that in mind. So now here are some pictures of me wearing it and also footage of where I tried it on for you. On. Oh my goodness, I don't ever want to take this thing off. It feels amazing. Like I said earlier, if you love wrapping up in a quilt or a blanket, you will love this, especially with this fabric. It just feels amazing. And look how I can wrap it around me. But here is where I added the cuff, and I'll show you when I stand up on the step. Like I said, when my arms are straight down, the sleeves are a little long, but look, when like if I'm driving or whatever, they're perfect, the length. So I don't think I would want them any shorter because when I wear this, it's going to be really cold, so I want to stay snugly. And then I'll turn around so you can see the hood. Might be kind of wonky looking. Haven't straightened it up or anything, but now I will get up on the steps so you can see the entire thing. Here it is. And see here with my arms straight down, the sleeves look just a tad too long, but I would rather have them like that and be able to, like when I'm driving or whatever, have them not be too short, if that makes sense. And then there are the pockets. And here's the back. And you can see how long it is on me, and I'm 5'11", so keep that in mind if you decide to make it. So I hope you found that review helpful. If you make this, let me know. If you're on Instagram, tag me so I can see it. If you're not on Instagram and you make it, let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.